Chad Sims. I'm a county judge. I'll be leading the hearing, but I'm a non-voting member. You guys, you 9 people right here in the middle, are the voters on this committee. So as you hear and listen and understand, you'll be voting in the end. Just a little bit of introduction about this process and how it works. This comes straight from the code. You've each been given a copy of the statute in your packet there. To initiate a Texas County salary grievance, an elected officer, an elected official, must submit a written request to the Salary Grievance Committee within 5 days of receiving notice of their proposed salary or expenses. So we sent out a letter to every elected official, said here's what your salary is going to look like, and you have 5 days to say don't agree with it, or if you say nothing, we assume you're okay with it. So the committee, including me, the county judge as the non-voting chairman, the sheriff, tax assessor, treasurer, county clerk, district attorney, and 3 public members must hold a public hearing. So we did receive a notice from 3 constables who didn't agree with their salaries. Following the hearing, if 6 or more members vote to recommend an increase, the committee sends a written recommendation to the Commissioner's Court for consideration in the next meeting. So 6 yes votes means it gets recommended to the Commissioners to consider the increase. If 6 to 8 members vote to recommend the increase, the Commissioner's Court shall consider the recommendation at its next meeting. So 6 members, a letter gets written to the court. 6 to 8, the Commissioners shall consider the recommendation in their next court meeting. If 9 members, that's a unanimous vote to recommend the increase and sign the recommendation, the Commissioner's Court shall include the increase in the budget. So if you guys vote 9-0, we're going to increase the salary as they requested. Does it all make sense? All square. The proposed budget was timely filed. We received their letters requesting salary grievance hearing. We received letters from Constable Weatherall, Constable Hickey, and Constable Griffin. They were received timely within their 5 days, so I believe that this meeting is proper, and as such, we'll go ahead and proceed now with the public hearing. It's 2:03 p.m. We'll begin the public hearing. First, we'll hear from Constable Darrell Griffin.
I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I know y'all got other things to do. I want to tell you up front, I'm not a debater and I'm not a politician. I'm just an elected official. So standing up here in front of you is nerve-wracking for me. The reason why I filed this is that I took office in 2017 as a constable of Harrison County in Precinct 4. I'm on my 3rd term of 4 years. And ever since the first term, we've been paid less than the county commissioners. We've been paid less than the JPs or other elected officials. Well, every year we've put in to try to make what the deputy off the street that has no training in law enforcement or nothing, his salary is what we've been trying for the last 10 budgets to get to, and never have even got that. As the years go by, the different pay between us and the other elected officials that are represented by the district precincts, not by the countywide, but by the precinct, has been pretty good. And it's just getting worse and worse each year. This year, the county commissioners and the JPs, they all got elected in their term by the people of their precinct. They've been voted, and all I'm talking about is base pay, no incentives or no nothing, just base pay. The county commissioners and the JPs make $59,000 plus a year as an elected official. As a constable, I'm elected official just like them. I got voted on by the people in my precinct just like they did. My base salary this year's budget is $46,000. It's $13,000 less than what the next elected official makes. County-wise, there's not an elected official or a department head that makes under $59,000 except for the constables. We're the only ones that make less than $59,000. Our job is, just as important as the other two. And the only reason why I'm comparing against the commissioners and the JPs is strictly because they're represented by a precinct just like I am. I'm not going after the county-wide where you have to have everybody in the county voting for you and you're working for everybody in the county. My job is was elected by the people in my precinct just like the commissioners were, just like the JPs were. And I have an office in the county building just like they do. My hours are the same as theirs, days off and all. But yet my pay is way different than theirs. And I don't think that there's a difference in their job description and my job description as far as that money-wise to make up $13,000 difference. So, we've tried for 10 years to get the salary increased a little bit more. Our first step was to try to get what the lowest paid deputy on the street comes in and does. And we can't even catch up with him. I mean, his salary right now is roughly about $6,000 to $7,000 more than mine. Where I have nobody in my office to do my paperwork. I do my own paperwork. I have to keep my own schooling up because we have to qualify and have to go to so many schools every 2 years and every 4 years to keep my badge, my license, so I can do my job. I have to find these schools. I have to keep up with my hours. I have to make arrangements for these schools. I don't have nobody in my office that does that. Racial profiling, asset forfeiture from Austin, the state. I have to keep up with all that record and do it myself. I don't have somebody in my office that does it. My budget, I do my own budget. I have to figure it out. There's things that I do that, and I'm not trying to say the sheriff's department don't do a good job because they do a great job, but a deputy that comes off the street, he has to worry about coming to work and answering his calls and going home. He don't have to worry about all these other things where I do. But yet, he makes $7,000 more. And I know they say, well, he answers calls and his life's in danger just like worse than mine. I go and move people out of their house that have been there for years. I put their stuff to the roads. I go when they do take children away from each other, serve divorce papers, foreclosure papers. People ain't happy when I come up there. They know they got to go to court when they get sued. I carry a gun just like any other deputy does. When we have a law enforcement memorial every year, there's a constable or two on there every year that's died in the line of duty. So our job is dangerous. When we go down the road, there's no guarantee when you put on a badge and a gun that you're guaranteed to come out because we don't know what the day holds for us. Who I could walk up on, drive up on, what call is going to come in. We have an active shooter or a robbery. You don't know because I go to it just like a deputy can. And I work in the city of Marshall and I work in Harrison County. So that's my point. So I'm just asking for fair. What's right is right. If every other elected official can get a raise and get this amount, then I don't see why I can't. I'm an elected official just like them. I have to get voted on just by the same people that they got voted on. So other than that, that's all I have to say.
Any questions from the committee? If not, I have a question and a comment. I'm the one, the county judge prepares the budget, and as I look at duties for everybody that works for the county, a sheriff's deputy who makes $6,000, I think you said more than you, they clock in for 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Is that right, Sheriff? And is that, do you clock in and serve 12-hour days?
I don't serve a 12-hour day, no. But they get a 40-hour week check just like I get 40 hours. Now they're off 5 days one week and they're off 2 days the next week. I work 5 days each week because I come to work every day. And there's days where I can't serve a paper because somebody works out of town on Monday through Friday, and they go to work at 4 or 5 or 6 in the morning to get there, and they don't get home at 6 or 7 at night. So on Saturdays is the only time I can catch them. So I'll go run and serve papers on Saturdays. I'll serve papers after 5 o'clock or something. But no, do I work a 12-hour shift? No, I don't. But that 12-hour shift is 40 hours a week, or of the 80 hours. So there's where the difference is.
I understand. And do you work any other jobs other than constable?
Here in Marshall, I work as a bailiff and I was going to explain that. I do work for bailiff in Joe Black's court. R.D. Henderson was retired from there, and Joe was going to have to find a bailiff. And we were talking one day, and to save the county money, instead of them having to hire a bailiff and pay his salary and pay his insurance and his retirement and all that, since I've already getting that working for the county, I bailiff his court every other week. I only get paid for the hours he's in court. If he don't have court that week, he's out of town at school or whatever, then I only get a salary. I only get paid by the hour. In the last 2 years, myself and then there's another retired officer, he takes the other week, our salary adds up to about $15,000 a year in Joe Black's court. It saves a lot of money. If they had to pay a full-time bailiff $45,000 in the insurance and retirement, it would have cost the county a lot more money. This way it's a lot cheaper for them. I still do the county job, but I also do my job. I'm not behind on my paperwork. My paperwork is served in a timely manner. If I have to work after hours, I work after hours and don't gripe and complain about it. His court don't go 8 hours in a day. He might have something at 9 o'clock and nothing again till 11. If I have something in town to serve, I serve those papers between that time. So yes, I do have another job, and it is for the county, but it's to help the county. I don't try to mess the county up. I don't try to take advantage of the county. I do my job, and I try to best I can. So, any other question?
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
You're not set up on a specific shift like the sheriff's department, are you?
On where?
In terms of your duties?
On constable's duties?
On a day or a week, you're basically a 24-hour-a-day.
I'm a constable in the morning time from 8 to 5. I can start work anytime I want and end anytime I want. Now, I have told the sheriff and I have told the city police, and the city has called me, that if you have something major at night and need a body, call me. I'll be happy to come out. If I'm driving between here and Harleton or Diana and there's a wreck on the side of the road or a deputy calls for help or whatever, I'm going to go to it just like anybody else because I have the same powers as a deputy does. I can write tickets, I can arrest you, I can do anything that they can do. So, you know, if there is something that comes up or I run across a wreck, and I have ran across several, during the storms I've rolled out there and blocked the intersection on Highway 80 when trees fall across them so that the deputies or the city officers can go to the next call. But, so, do I have a set time? Technically, no, but I am an officer 24 hours a day, yes. Yes.
Do you know what the salaries are, average salaries for Northeast Texas for constables is?
Yes. I looked around the counties close to us, like Great County. I know they're bigger than us and they have a lot more money than us. So I'm not expecting to compare, and that's why I didn't. I did look, but I didn't bring it up. But the constables in Great County, and there's 4 of them, they all have different salaries, but the cheapest salary on this year's budget is $64,480. I picked Panola County, which is a little bit smaller than us, but they do still have a little more money probably than we do, wise. And Panola County has, their constable makes $66,780. They have a deputy constable that makes $64,201. I picked Marion County, which is smaller than us and a lot poorer than us by what they say. Their constable makes $47,582, plus he gets an allowance of $7,200 on top of that in his paycheck. Now,
Is that monthly?
no, his salary, base salary for the year is $47,582. The $7,200 is yearly. $7,200 is year. They add that to his check. So technically, he's making roughly $54,000 a year. My salary is that they're proposing this year is $46,351. I did look up under Gov salaries, and they said elected officials in the state of Texas average from small counties to larger counties make $51,500 up to $81,325. A county about our size, they're averaging out about $66,000. Again, I'm making 46. Every other elected official is making 59 plus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
We have access to the budget numbers, the actual numbers, when we go.
Yes, sir. Sure.
How many times a month do you get called out at night?
Not very often. Not often at all. We're here to help, but the Sheriff's Department does a good job and they don't need us. They're able to handle it. And the city does the same thing. Now, like I said, the city has called me out once, you know, when they have a shooting and they have somebody that they think is going to be a problem, that, you know, it's going to be a large crowd that show up at the hospital. They've called and asked if I'd help. I have no problem getting called out. I worked for the Marshall Police Department for 30 years before I became a constable. And I've been a constable for 9.5. For 16 of it, I was in CID where I got called out at all hours of the night. So I have no problem getting called out.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
On an average, like, how many, services do y'all actually serve? I know y'all do out of county and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you serve in a month's
It-
time.
It just depends, and each department is more than the other. I can serve monthly, probably 50 or so, depending on what's going on. I have served out of district clerk's office. I have served out of county clerk's office papers. I serve all JP papers. You know, we get things from Easy Messenger, Lineberg, and them from out of county. Other precincts out of other counties that have to serve in here. So it's one of those that we just keep it on average, you know, $250, $300 a month. I mean, a year we serve.
Ms. House?
I was just curious, you are allocated a vehicle, is that correct?
Yes, we do get a vehicle.
That may not be relevant, but I'm just asking because I don't know. Justices of the peace do not, but they are called out, is that correct?
That's correct.
But they get,
JPs use their own vehicle and constables have county vehicles.
yes, we do have a vehicle, and this year we got on the lease program. We got a nice vehicle. I'll say that. It's a good vehicle.
Judge, is there a way to, in numbers, to what that value is,
For the vehicle,
the benefit value, is there a way to pull those numbers?
sure, I think it'll be in their budget. We usually pay about $1,100 a month for most vehicles. That's just the lease rate, and then you add fuel and maintenance. I don't remember that off the top of my head.
Yeah, monthly, mine runs about $100-something a month on gas. But she sends us a deal each month, and it runs $100-something each month on gas in our vehicles. and then we have a leased vehicle.
I'll get the budgets printed out and it'll show you all those details.
Now, I will say, so you'll know, the difference in your question, I do have a take-home vehicle. I drive to work, I drive home, and I drive to serve all these papers. The JPs get an allowance for driving their cars. So you have to add that, it's not in their base salary. And so does the commissioners. So just because I get a vehicle doesn't mean, I just want that to be put out there too, that they get compensated for that.
Any other questions? Thank you, Constable Griffin.
All right.
Next up, Constable Weatherall.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, committee. Before I get started, I'll follow up. Can I follow up on a couple of questions that were just, okay? Follow up on a couple of questions as far as vehicle and gas and so forth. I think last year the county budgeted just over $16,000, almost $17,000 for the lease program on the vehicles for the constables on our trucks. So they allocated roughly $17,000 a year for the lease program on our vehicles. Also last year and this year, they're allocating $3,000 for fuel for the constables. To follow up on the JPs, they get $7,500 on top of their base salary for their travel allowance. My name is Jim Weatherall, Constable Precinct 3, Harrison County. Good afternoon. I want to thank each of you for taking time out of your schedules today to be here. I'd like to start off by saying filing of this grievance was not taken lightly. Since taking office as Constable Precinct 3 in 2017, I have worked with both county judges and commissioners trying to close the gap of the salary of the constables to that of the other elected officials, as well as the sheriff's office. Before we look at salaries, let's talk about the job of the Constable of Precinct 3. The days of coming into the office 1 or 2 days a week and serving a couple papers a month is gone. I serve approximately 300 civil process each year. Those process includes citations, evictions, AG papers, divorce papers, as well as writs. On serving of evictions, the state statute requires that we make multiple attempts. So it's my policy in my office, I make at least 3 attempts before I can go back to the court to ask for an alternative service. So we just don't go out there the first time to serve an eviction paper and serve somebody. They may be home, they may not. So if they're not there on your first attempt, then I make multiple other attempts to reach these people. So that is time, money, fuel. So it's an ongoing process. I bailiff JP court anywhere between 3 to 6 times a month is where the JP holds court. He usually has court anywhere from 3 to 6 times a month. I'm there to bailiff his court. Constables also fields calls on a regular basis from citizens about civil problems, whether it be about evictions, animal complaints, or how to retrieve property that someone has that belongs to them. We're getting more and more calls each and every day and each and every week from people who live with each other and split and want to try to go back and get their property. The other one don't want them to have it. So we have to explain to them the actual process to go through the courts in order to have an officer go and do a standby. The days of just going and doing standbys are no longer. because of liability issues. The courts have ruled that without some type of court order, if I go and just do a standby for Bob over here, and something happens, and I have to engage in some type of legal action, then I can be held civilly liable because I had no legal authority to be there other than Bob just asking me to be there. So the days of basically civil standbys to help retrieve property are more or less gone. So we field those calls daily. We also, like I said, do with animal complaints and so forth. As the elected constable, we have no support staff, so we are responsible for logging the receipt of all of our own papers, making sure the returns are returned to the proper courts or offices that sent them to us. We also have to make sure that reports that are mandated by the state are done on a timely manner and sent back to them. As Constable Griffin spoke a while ago, there's a lot of different reports we have to report to the state. This year, out of nowhere, I get a phone call from the Attorney General's office. I think the district clerk's office got the same phone call, and they wanted to do an audit for 2 years ago, I believe it was, or a year ago, 2 years ago. They wanted to do an audit on papers that I had served. So I had to go back, research, find all these list of papers that they sent, that they wanted confirmations that I had actually served them and billed them for, to make sure that they were accurate. We just got a report back from them, and Harrison County, the Sheriff's Office, District Clerk's Office, myself, we were able to provide the state with all the proper documents, and they were happy, said we was all in good shape. So, but that just takes time also. In order, some of the AG papers, anytime that the constables serve an AG paper, this is Attorney General's child support paper, that is sent to us directly from the Attorney General's office, we have to do our own billing to them. So there's a computer program software that we have, so we have to go online, create all these forms, tell them who we served, when we served them, how much we charge, and so forth, in order for the state to reimburse the county for those. So that's an added time-consuming thing that we do. Also, as the elected constable, we're the only law enforcement officer in the state that is mandated to take an additional specialized 20-hour civil process every 2 years, on top of the other training that's required. We all have risk at our jobs. A big difference between the job of a deputy sheriff and a constable is when a deputy is dispatched to a call, they have been invited by someone and have the capability of knowing who may be there, what's going on, etc. I, as constable, have not been invited and show up unannounced, not knowing who may be there or what's going on inside the residence, putting my life at a greater risk. Under the current budget, the gap between the constables and JPs, which in the current budget are the next pay group, there's a difference of $10,701. The gap between the constables and a starting deputy is somewhere between $7,924 to $9,412. These are figures based off the current 25 budget cycle. Currently, the constable makes $43,172, JPs are at $53,873, and deputy sheriffs range from $51,096 to $52,584. Under the proposed 26-year budget, constable salary would be at $46,351. The justice of the peace moved to $59,603, which is a gap of $13,252. And I do not have what the proposed salaries for deputies would be, so I couldn't add that in. This grievance was filed asking for $59,603, the same as the rest of the elected officials of Harrison County. I'm asking this committee to set a salary that you feel is appropriate for Constable Precinct 3. I'm also asking this committee for a unanimous vote on that set salary. For anything less, goes back to the Commissioner's Court as either a recommendation or a consideration. Once again, I'd like to thank each of you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Weatherall. Any questions for Mr. Weatherall? I have one comment. You know, I'm not sure it's fair to compare to justices of the peace. Was that they've got office staff they oversee. They keep regular hours in their offices. They, of course, hold court. They get called out all hours of the night, all the time. And they also come every day and magistrate inmates in the jail. So I understand you comparing precinct to precinct, but it seems to me the job duties are just much more significant for JPs. That's just another comment. You're welcome to respond to that.
Thank you, Judge. You know, we've had this conversation many times. For some reason, I don't understand why judges and commissioners continue to belittle constables. We're constantly being put down. For some reason, we've been told, you're just a constable. Well, what they don't realize is being just a constable is one of the first steps that the citizens of this county have when it comes to having issues with the JP courts and so forth. The JP courts are their first line of defense on evictions, civil cases, and so forth. I, as the constable, am required by statute to be there every time that judge has a hearing to be his bailiff, and I am there. I am subject to being called out, just like the judges could be called out for an inquest. I could be called out for anything. When we have storms, I respond. I don't wait to get called from the sheriff's office. If we have a storm that comes through on the west end of the county where I'm at, I'm out. I get up. If I'm not dressed, I get dressed. I go. I'm there to serve them, to help them. I just don't understand how we keep getting to the point where the constables are lacking the respect that they deserve.
You mentioned that you are serving in the JP court 3 to 4 hours a month?
No, sir. No.
What was that?
Yes, sir. That is, we hold court 3 to 6 times a month is when he actually holds court. Constable Precinct 3 is my only job. I'm there 5 days a week unless I'm off for a reason. But I'm normally there 5 days a week. I'm usually there by 8:30. I may not go home till 6, 7 o'clock. I don't work a set schedule. There's some days that I may not come in till 8, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but I may work till 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Because like Constable Griffin said, we have to catch these people. A lot of these people work. They're not home during 8 to 5. So I have to adjust my schedule in order to catch those people at home. I don't keep a set amount of hours I work, But I can assure you, I put anywhere at least 32 to 38 hours or 40 hours a week, almost every week.
But in the JP court, how much of your normal time is spent in that court as their bailiff or as their?
Days, like I said, we're in there anywhere from 3 to 6 times a month. It depends on the court load. He may only have 2 or 3 cases one day, so I'm only in there for that amount of time. There are some days that we've gone from 9 o'clock in the morning, taking a break at noon, start right back at 1 and go till 2 or 3 o'clock. It just depends on the caseload, because not only does the JP courts hear evictions and lawsuit cases, they're handling a ton of debt cases now. These credit card companies and so forth are filing these debt cases against individuals who has defaulted on loans and credit cards, and those are being filed in the JP court, because the JP courts now can hear cases up to $20,000. So these companies that are buying all these debts up are filing these cases in the JP courts because they can get in faster, get a quicker response instead of filing them in the county court and stuff. So we're there. Like I said, it just depends on the caseload. We have court tomorrow. I think we got 6 or 8 cases on the docket, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning. So just depending on how fast those move along.
Any other questions? Mr. Royal, I just want to make sure you know I had no intention of belittling you. My comments weren't meant that way or disrespecting you at all. I respect you guys. I'm strictly looking at this from a number standpoint. That's it.
And Judge, I understand that. We've had these conversations on numbers before, but it just seems like every time that a constable comes to this court, we are looked down upon. We're always or put to the little guy, and I don't think our position is sometimes accepted well.
I think that's your perception, and I'm sorry I made you feel that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Nobody else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Once again, thank you for your time.
Hello, how are y'all doing today? Judge Sims,
Yes, sir.
Chair of the Board, committee members, I'm here to speak to you today on the grievance that we filed and try to help you understand what we're doing and what the process is. The reason we filed the grievance on the pay salary is because the gap has gotten so far. The difference between it from where the constables are and where the other elected officials are has been put has grown tremendously. It's gotten to the point where we just feel like we're getting left behind. The wheels of progress for the constables are turning so much slower than everyone else's. And the other constables have pretty much explained our process of what we do. I don't want to beat that into you too much. But I feel like maybe you just don't quite understand everything we do. We don't just bailiff the court. We don't just serve a paper here and there. When they have court at the JP court, they're creating work for us. In other words, the judge will rule on a judgment, and he gives that judgment to the defendant, which is usually the citizens that have filed. They don't have anywhere else to go but the JP court to file their civil suits, whether it's to get an eviction, to get someone out of their rental property, if it's to get reimbursed for damages from something that somebody's caused, or any other thing like that that's become civil. Well, when he gets that judgment, that doesn't mean that person's going to honor it. So when that person fails to honor that judgment, the only recourse that the citizen has, the one who got the judgment, is to go back to the court and get it, file another writ a writ of execution or a writ of possession for property, which depending on what the case was. Well, that's where we come in. We go back out. We have to go back to those citizens, and we have to enforce that to make them honor that judgment. It may be we have to seize property, we may have to levy against it, have an auction off their property. Those people don't want to give up their stuff. And when they're getting moved out of their house, if they couldn't pay their rent to start with, how are they going to get somewhere else to live? So they see us coming, they don't want to get out. We have to force them to get out. I've even had to call the sheriff and the SWAT team out before because I had some individuals that were ex-military, husband and wife, had kids, and did not want to leave, barricaded themselves in the house, told us we were going to have to drag them out hand and foot, and they wasn't going willingly. Thank goodness nothing happened. But these cases happen. We put our lives on the line just like everybody else. And we're required to do 80 hours every 4 years of peace officer certification, plus the 20 hours of civil service. And now we're going through the Alert 1 training, which is an active shooter for situations that may occur at the school. The deputies in the sheriff's department have to do the same training. We have to do the same thing they do. The state requires it. The state requires it because they know they may depend on us to be there. We may be out serving papers close by the school when something was to happen. And if they are, we got to respond. And they know it, and they trust us to do so because we're peace officers. We're licensed peace officers. The same training that the sheriff's departments and their deputies go through, we go through it with them. And the sheriff has helped us out a lot. If I needed something, I need anything, the sheriff, I can call him. He's going to make sure he's there for it. He's going to have his guys there for me. I trust him. I know it. I've had to use him before. And he knows he can call me for anything. I'll help them out. If our deputies are on a call and it's close by and I'm close enough to get there, I'm going to go back them up. I do it all the time. I'm not going to leave them out there stranded. I'll back up Wascom Police Department all the time. I'll back up any department I'm around. I'm not going to leave an officer out there stranded on the street. But like I say, the grievance is all about the scale of distance between the pays. I know we get a county truck that the county pays for, but when we're doing an eviction and trying to regain a piece of property for an individual that has filed it and they've gotten a writ of possession for it, it may take as many as 8 trips back and forth to that same residence dealing with them. 3 before I get a alternative service, 4th one to go back and post it, a 5th one to go back and move the people out, and 2 more. 1 to check and make sure that the property owner has cleaned up whatever mess they left after they go, because a lot of people won't take all their stuff. They'll leave a trash out to the road, and the taxpayers don't want to see that, so it would be the responsibility of the landowner to go back and clean that mess up, and then I got to go back and make sure he did it. So there's a lot involved in being a constable other than just bailiffing a court and being there for the judge to protect him and make sure that the court is safe all the time. And, y'all have an opportunity at this time that a lot of people don't get. You get to determine what you think the constable in your precinct and in your area should really be making at this. Judge Sims has been good at coming up with the numbers and what he's got, and the commissioners have been good about giving us anything we want. We can go to them and they'll pretty much do what they can for us. But at this point, this is our only avenue to try to catch that pay up to what it should be. When I walk out that door at night or during the day and I'm going to somebody's house, I don't know who I'm confronting. I don't know what kind of mood that person's in. I don't know what kind of hardship he's going through and how he's going to take it out on me. When he sees me, he doesn't see just an old paper pusher constable. He sees the law coming for him. He don't want to open the door a lot of times. We've had to bust the door down and get in there to get them moved out of the house or, serve the papers for them. So it's a little bit more to it than just sitting in the courtroom and bailiffing the court a lot of the times. We have to make sure that everybody comes in that courtroom safe, not carrying any weapons, that they're not going to be confronting the other person across the table from them that they're having trouble with. It can happen. It happens all the time. It's our job to protect, make the courtroom safe, protect the judge, and we are the arm of the JP. We are the arm of the judge. We enforce the rulings on which he rules on. Ours doesn't stop when the courtroom is empty and goes away. Every day we may have to go back. When I leave out the courtroom, first thing I do is I got paper, stuff I'm working on. I got judgments I'm getting from out of the county that's not even coming through our court. Judge don't even know about it. They get mailed to me. I just served a writ the other day, helped locate a $148,000 dozer that somebody had been trying to repossess for 2 years, and the guy wouldn't turn it back over. I found it. I got him. I made him turn it over. He didn't want to, but he'd been using it for free. And right now I'm working on a $180,000 writ from somewhere outside the county, not our stuff, but I got to do it. It was sent to me. And these writs and stuff and other papers that come from other counties and stuff, we're obligated to do our job, and we swore an oath to do it, and that is part of it. It's just not our court papers that we do, it's other papers too. It's people that live in our precinct. And this is an opportunity for y'all, and a privilege, if I should say so, that y'all get to sit here and look at us and listen to what we say and listen to what we do and make a suggestion towards the commissioners and the court that say, hey, I think they're a little bit underpaid myself. I think they deserve to be up there a little bit. We appreciate it. If we all don't, that's it. But the judge explained to you the procedures and the process of what it takes to get it done, and y'all get to make that decision. And that's something that we appreciate for y'all to have to do, I mean, we honored that y'all are here to do it today and are willing to do it. And I just wanted to touch points on some of that there. Our vehicle, I know they say we got a vehicle, but we go a lot of trips out there. We go back, we may have to seize property and put it in the back of the truck, haul it back to deliver it to the person it was getting to. We may have to go seize property and hold it and move it back and forth to auction it off. We may have to carry somebody to jail because the judge says load him up and take him to jail. He's in contempt of court, put him into jail right now. We got to load him up and carry him up there. We're doing that, and we've had to do it. I've done it plenty of times. So, yes, that's a county vehicle. I don't drive it nowhere but to work and back. I got my own vehicle. My wife, to be honest with you, she's scared to ride in it. Scared somebody's going to drive up beside us and start, do something. But, like I said, this is the opportunity for y'all to fulfill y'all's obligation as committee members and think about what you think that is a just fair living wage for us constables compared to everybody else's. What is a fair living wage for us to live on and raise a family and have as ourselves for doing the job that we do? Because I can promise you, this isn't not dangerous. This job is not dangerous. It's dangerous. People here out there, they just look at us as police officers, and they don't care if it's a constable or a deputy or a sheriff. We're all law enforcement, or police. We're just all law enforcement to them, a lot of them. But we work generally for the civil side. When the sheriff's department's part runs out and it's not criminal anymore, they're going to refer you to us. They're going to say, "Go. That's a civil matter. You're going to have to go before the JP and get you a judgment and let the constable and them help take care of that." That's what we're there for. I want to appreciate y'all for listening to us. I hope I might have cleared a little bit of that up. I'm not sure if I did. Might have confused you. I don't know. Hope so. Hope I didn't. But if y'all have any questions, I'd be honored to answer them.
Any questions, Constable?
So there's something I'd like to cover. I think it's a fitting time to throw it in. I'm Sheriff Fletcher. Today I am just a person on this committee, just like all the rest of you. Hearing these guys talk today, they're right. They do a great job. Mr. Hickey and I have worked together since I started here in 2001 for at least the last 20. If you were here running around there, weren't you? 4, 3, 4, 5?
Well, I was chief of police in Wascom for many years.
We sat beside each other at the patrol car. They
Yep.
But in saying that, like I said, they're very neat, they're very good at what they do and all that. So I have a couple of things I'd like to add. I'm actually asking a question if y'all can. I wanted Darryl to be here, but I don't know where he got to. So my question is, first of all, I work with this court a lot, a whole lot. My budget is quite large, so I have to spend a lot of time with this court. And not being disrespectful when I say that, but I disagree with the ability comment. I have had nothing but good luck out of this court, if you want to call it that, good fellowship, good workmanship. We've made a lot of good strides in the sheriff's office over the last 5 years that I've spent my tenure as sheriff thus far. I have a lot more people to work on. I understand that. It takes more time to do it. I'm not giving special attention. It just takes time. But in saying that, I feel like this court is extremely fair. I came to this court earlier this year and asked for a 10% raise for my people because the people across the street are making $18,000 more than we are right here in the same town. I tried to get that. The court did everything they could. It didn't quite get there. We got 3%, which we were happy to get anything at all. It doesn't always work. I don't know the numbers as well as that man knows the numbers, but I can tell you I've been through 4 or 5 county judges and courts since I've worked for the sheriff's office since 2001, and this is by far the most structured, best court I've ever seen in this county. Now, in saying that part, I trust this court's decision, whether we put it back on them or we make a decision together. But I'll tell you, these guys, I'll vouch for each one of them. They're both great guys. They've all been in law enforcement a long time. My question is, when y'all did the survey to the constables of surrounding counties, which I think is the way to do this, I don't think it matters what other people base or aren't serving in the past a year in. I think comparing you to other counties is absolutely how you do this. In those counties, did those people make the same thing that JP's made? The reason I ask that is my people don't make what I make. Because I am what I will refer to, I'm the tip of the spear, if you want to call it that. In a JP court, we have a JP sitting here, a JP is the tip of the spear in that court. That is their court. These guys are elected to serve that court, carry out that court's orders and go to the community with whatever paperwork or whatever it is that's an extension of that court to keep that court going. So I do think it's right to compare you to people around us, because if that's what our borders are making, we should be very similar. I agree with that. I don't know if I agree if you're supposed to make the same money, because I don't know the answer to that question. I've never been on a survey where I surveyed a JP court. Mine are always open record requests to other departments for their salaries. But in doing that over the years, that's the way we've done it too, is try to compare to see something similar to us. What are you making versus what are we making? Are we a couple of times I got my feelings hurt, a couple of times it's been helpful. It's just a shooting match, but I do agree with what you're saying and where you guys are going with this, and what our neighboring counties are doing to better their county, better equip, better pay, better whatever. But I think that's the way to go. The reason being, I'm not sure that in other counties, if the constable and the deputy make the same money. I don't have any idea. Did y'all answer that? Did y'all
He's got the figures on.
Sheriff, this year I did not present those numbers when I presented my budget. The last 2 previous years, I did have the numbers as far as salaries for constables in our population geographics. This past year I did not do that. But saying that, the last 2 years prior to this year, we were behind the 8 ball. We were anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 behind these other counties. As far as the JPs, I don't know, because I was not doing a comparison on that. I was doing a comparison on constables.
The reason I asked that is I heard you say, or whoever brought up all the surrounding counties were like 66 or something.
Greg Right.
Put things in line, put things in perspective.
Right, and I understand that, and like I said in my closing, yes, we did, all three of us, when we filed our grievance, we did ask for the 59,603, which is what the other elected officials, are making. In my closing, I said, I would like for this committee to make a determination. If you don't think that that 59,603 is where we should be, y'all think it ought to be at X, then that's where it'd be.
In all honesty, I guess that keep trying to get my question asked, I'm not against it if that's common practice.
I don't know of all the counties that do that, and I know Hood County, which is a little bit, I mean, they're large, obviously larger than us. I do know down in Hood County, every elected official's down there from the constable all the way up are on the same pay scale. Granbury. So I know that they are, but now where other counties, and the reason I know that is because one of the constables down there is a good friend of mine, and we've had dialogue over the last couple of years, and he has told me that they finally got all of their elected officials from constables all the way up, they're on the same pay scale.
And you said JP is 59.7, is that what you said?
In the proposed budget, the
59,603.
yeah, the JP will be going to 59,603. We're currently at 43,172.
I thought you said it was 46.
That's what it's projected to be.
No, the current budget that we're in right now, we're at 43,172. The proposed budget, which is the one we're filing the grievance against, is 46,351.
What was the JP before that?
The JP, give me just a second. No, sir. The JPs for this current cycle right now, 53,873, and they're going to 59,603.
I think that is the best we can get. I'm curious.
Ms. Griffiths?
I think, though, you gotta compare apples to apples, okay? You can't compare apples and oranges, just like I would love to make what Bragg County did.
I agree.
You know, but I can't. Their population is a lot greater than our population. And I think you have to go back and look at the salaries of the counties that have populations close to ours so that you have a variance there and see what the variance is. I don't think you can compare Gregg County to Harrison County or Marion County to Harrison County due to what they're actually, you know, what the size of the community is and the population of the county.
Right.
I just know in my perspective, that I think it needs to be more apples to apples and less of a variance from population to population. That's just my
Right,
opinion.
and I understand that. Like I said, up until this past year, when I came and did my budget proposals, I had all those figures I took our population. You can go on tax website, and you can pull salaries by county populations. And up until this past year, for the last two previous years, I had done that and took all the counties that were in our population. Actually, I went 10,000 above us and 10,000 below us and took those salaries, and we were still anywhere from roughly $10,000 below any of those other counties. Like I said, that was, the last time I done that was 2 years ago, so.
I'll add to that, the countywide, not only the constable, but all the elected officials work a lot of that. Harrison County officials work a lot of that.
Including my friends.
Including
Yeah,
all the.
yeah, all of them. So.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
This brings us to our deliberation time. Does anybody need a break? Everybody's okay? If you are, this is a public meeting. We're not gonna go into a closed deliberation. It's completely open. You guys are yourselves. If you have any questions, certainly if, I'll stick around if you have any other questions for them, if you think of something. I believe that they're asking for 59,603, which is the proposed salary for JPs, so that's what they're asking for.
Yeah, that was an ask.
Sir?
That was an ask. We're leaving it in their hands to feel what a fair
Sure.
living wage.
So you may agree with that, you may agree to some lesser amount, you may not agree at all. That would be your choice, and,
You're in discussion, in your role in the county seat, you're in the heart of all the discussions of all these salary increases and such. What was the thinking as you rolled through the budget of increasing the JP to over $6,000 and only increasing the constables a little over, if 3,000? What merits a $6,000 increase for the JP and not a similar increase for all the other county employees?
sure.
So, you know what I mean,
Absolutely.
what's the thinking behind it?
So as I look through our salaries and just trying to see who or to get a level line about, based on their workloads, to me, and not one JP came to me and said, hey, well, they all requested in their budget, but I had zero discussions, never talked to one of them about this. Looking at their wages, I felt they were underpaid for the work they do. They have an office staff of at least 2 people. They work regular office hours, 8 to 5 every day, overseeing their staff. They hold court. When those guys are out of town, it falls to me to do their death calls. And so I've done that a few times, and it could be all, you have to go at 2 a.m., 6 a.m., noon, whenever they call. And I guess my experience in doing that, I felt like they were underpaid for what they do, for the commitment they have 8 to 5 during the week, and then any time of the night, weekends, doesn't matter. And so that was why I made the adjustment to bring them up to the same level as other elected officials. That was for the JPs. I didn't see that level of time commitment from the constables. That's just simple. I think, Mr. Weatherall, you said that you serve 300 writs a year or something, is that right?
Roughly 300 papers a year, yes.
So 300, just roughly 300 out of 12 months, that's 25 a month, that's about 1 a day. I know you do other things, but I wouldn't say, I don't consider that being overloaded. That's not working solid 8 to 5, my opinion, and that's just simply, it appears to me to be more closer to a part-time than full-time.
Did the 4 county commissioners get a similar increase?
So we're proposing a 3% increase for all employees. The county commissioners would get that 3%. The constables did not get 3% this year. Their proposed was 6%. Why? Because I think they're low. Do I think they're equivalent to 59,000 of other elected officials? No. But I did feel like they were low. So I was proposing a 6% increase instead of 3%.
But if we're gonna pay them because we consider them, don't misunderstand the use of this term, part-time, because they're not fulfilling as many hours, then you have to take a look at the county commissioners, who generally, from their own reports, will tell you that they have trouble
lesser amount.
Well,
It was, the cost, the commissioners got the same 3% as everybody in Little County. Constables were proposed for 6%.
so how bad does it hurt the budget? To, we're looking at giving them an extra $3,000 a year. What happens to the budget if I mean, we're talking 4 guys who do the job by themselves, and we can't come up with $6,000 to help them catch up to where, they probably should be closer to. I mean, we're talking what? So, we're talking $12,000 a year.
Sure.
That we can't find somewhere to bring these up, or we just continue to say you're not worth it.
Yeah, that's not my, I didn't use those words.
I'm just,
I'm not following the math here. It's 13,000 per constable to catch them up. Makes it a little over 50 grand.
no, if right now, they're gonna get $3,000 a year more. 13?
So they're proposed at 46.
Oh, you mean, I'm sorry, I'm way off track, I'm sorry. You're talking about what's already proposed to come out.
Right, what's proposed right now is a $3,000 raise.
To catch them where they.
And if we catch them up, if we boost that a little bit, go to 6,000, we're only talking about an additional $12,000 within the confines of a several $1 million budget. Yet we're bringing them further, we're bringing them closer to, I hate to use the term livable wage, but, I mean, quite frankly, they are.
We all know a lot of stuff right
Huh?
now. Hard time we live in right now. It's what it is.
I'm just saying, for me to do the right thing, doesn't hurt as much. When you talk about the scope of millions of dollars in a county budget.
Sure, I agree. It's a valid point. I guess we try to watch every dollar. If we could do what everybody wants, and all of a sudden you're out of hand and your tax rate's going up. We've got one of the lowest tax rates in the state, probably in the bottom 25% out of 254 counties. I think that's something to be proud of. We could take a vote in here right quick on who wants to raise their taxes, and that probably wouldn't go too well. Nobody likes to pay higher taxes, and I feel good about our rate. So what you're asking is their proposed salary right now is 46,000, to take them to 59,000, which they're asking for would be 13,000. You're not saying that.
I'm not suggesting we take them to 59,000. I'm not saying they should be on parity with JP's.
Okay.
There's, although I could make an argument for that. But I just think that the 43 number where they are now is significantly low. If we can get them closer to the 49 to even, then I think that ought to shut up.
Well, just to be clear, so I'm not confused on my comments on this, I don't know if they should or shouldn't either, I have no idea, that was my whole question. Hardly, that's what he tried to answer for me about the county, but I didn't mean that, if I put something in your head, I've done really bad, I didn't mean that. I don't know where they should be lying in my comments, was my question.
Well, I don't think they should be in line with sheriff's deputies or sheriff department.
My dad would start off at 52,000 starting this next year.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's where they belong. But at the same time, if there's if I'm reading my notes right, and I check if anybody can challenge that, the JP's court in precinct 3 at least is meeting 3 to 6 times. Is that a week or a month?
Per month.
3 to 6 times a month, is that about right?
Yes, that's what Mr. Weatherall said.
Okay. And so we're paying them that even if they hold court for 10 hours, 6 times a month, that's 60 hours a month.
Sure.
What's happening all those other hours?
Yeah,
And yet we're going to pay them a nice salary, yet these others, and I would argue this for other county employees as well, are putting in many more hours than that 60, whatever it might be, 10 hours at a time, significantly less money. To me, that seems unfair.
sure.
And then we can solve a salary in the next budget, then let's, or not give them a pay raise, or continue to bring the others forward. That should be a consideration in the future, but,
Well, I think JPs do much more than just holding court.
and I don't fully understand everything that the JPs do, and, you know, and so forth. I've been in the court all the time. But, you know, so I know there's more to it than that 60 hours. But I'm just saying, there seems to be an inequity there that we need, that the county needs to spend some time doing some catch-up. Can we do it all at once? No. But the county can certainly make a commitment to do a little bit here, and a little bit more next year, and a little bit more the year, while holding back perhaps, because of budget constraints, some of these other salaries. Just because this group gets a raise doesn't mean everybody else ought to get a raise.
Well, and that's kind of exactly where I was headed, as we gave 3% generally to the whole county except for JPs. I also increased the constables to 6%, because I felt like they were a little too low as well. So that's the direction I was headed.
And in the proposed budget, countywide officials got 3%. As far as the clerks, the treasurer, and the tax assessor. So, and that is how we are in the proposed budget. We didn't get the other raises either. But that's the across the board 3% that everybody got, and they still got more than what some of the other officials got.
But are those salaries that you're referring to trailing significantly behind where the salaries seem to be going for those within their work group?
You talking about
They are trailing.
compared to other
Every
counties?
county compared to other counties may be trailing, yes. And they are, as far as a survey goes, when you're comparing apples to apples, okay? Now, if you go out and you look at Marion County opposed to us, Marion County clerk, I think she makes, $45,000. I mean, $45,000 a year. You know, I make,
Say something.
59,603 is what's proposed for me. I'm countywide, I'm here every day. Marion County doesn't have court every day, they have visiting judges, they have, you know, we have all of that. We have judges here all the time, so it's hard to compare county to county to county when there's different aspects of every county as to what they do in the population they're in. That's my hope.
I'd like to say something. I kind of got cut off in that dual thing there we had a while ago before I got to sign out on what I wanted to say. And I've heard some things about that we might be considered part-time. We're listed as full-time officers with the county. If the county called us for something, we have to go.
My reference was to your pay.
Yes. I just wanted to, I understand that. I just wanted that was put out there, and I have, when I go out to serve papers and I leave if they're not there or they won't open the door, I'll leave a note on the door. It's called a door knocker. And I may be at the house at 6 o'clock at night, and they might get a phone call and they say, "Hey, I got a note on my door that you got some papers from me." I say, "Yes, sir." And I said, "When can I meet with you and give them to you?" And they go, "Well, I work 6 days a week. I'll go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't get home till 8 o'clock at night." "You there now?" "Yep." "I'll be there in about 30 minutes or an hour," whatever. So I may have to take out, get dressed, and go serve those papers in. We're liable to get called out anytime. I do evictions on houses and move-outs, and the people that own them may be in Dallas. And they say, "I can't get there till Saturday. Can you meet us then?" "Yes, sir." I'll meet you there then. I may have to go Saturday and spend all day Saturday moving somebody out of a house and putting their stuff out at the road. So part-time, 40 hours a week, I don't work 40 hours a week. I got the largest precinct in the county, Precinct 1. I go all the way from Marion County line, all the way down to Elysian Fields, all the way back over to Wascom, part of Marshall, back down into Karnak, all of Caddo Lake, all the way back up in towards Jefferson. So I got a large precinct, and then back in towards Wascom. So I got a lot of area to cover. I got a lot of people with rental properties. I got people who have duplexes, apartment complexes, everything. They depend on me to make sure that they get possession of their property and stuff when somebody's not paying their rent. And I have to put them out. So I just want to say, a lot of times I have to do that on hours and days that I'm not really, guess, considered a work day for everybody else. I'll have to do it. So, and I've worked some Saturdays. I've worked some at night, going out and serving papers. I've gone out, and if I'm serving somebody over here, I may go and say, well, maybe I can catch these people. So it'd be after hours, 7, 8 o'clock at night, trying to catch up with people who's been working all day, and I need to try and catch them, and I'll catch them at home at night and the evenings time. So our hours, we make our own schedule to a point, but the judge, the court clerks make our schedule. When that paper is listed to be served, they got so many days after those people pay to have those papers served. We have to serve them 6 days before the court date. So they set the court date, I got to serve them 6 days before the court date. I got 6 days before that court date that they have to be served or they're null and void. They said, well, you didn't give me enough time to get off of work, put my time in. How am I supposed to get to court? I can't do that. The law states they got to be 6 days before the court date that I got to serve them. So I'm limited on my time that I have to locate these people and serve those papers. So I just wanted to make that understand. I don't consider us part-time. I know that's something that some people say sometimes, but it's not. You know, I'm no more part-time than any other elected official.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I say, well, go work for this man, a lot, probably the hardest working possible.
And
he wrote, at one time, was probably the king of traffic stops in the east side of the county. In saying that, there are 4 constables in Harrison County. Some are much harder than others. But everybody gets the same. I don't necessarily agree with, just because 1 or 2 don't work much, the other 1 or 2 should be penalized for that. That's not their problem or their issue to fix. That's up to the people of this county.
And my statement wasn't that they,
And I hate that.
my
No,
statement is
I understand.
work part-time. My statement is that the salary that they're being paid is, in my mind, my view of that salary is a part-time salary.
So
When you have to go out and get another job in order to supplement your income, you're now, you're not being, there's something wrong with that. Or,
Can I ask what you was making as chief of police department?
For chief in Wascom, at the time I was chief there, $58,000 there. That was back then. That was a while back. So.
Can I ask, what about precinct 2? I don't see him on here. Is he okay with the price that he's getting?
I've not heard from him, so I would assume he's okay.
Here's my opinion.
His might be okay for what he feel. He may feel that's okay for what he
My
does.
opinion is, you're told a gun and a bag. You just like that sheriff back there. When you go out to a place to serve paper, if he shoots you dead right there,
I'm just as dead as he would be.
you have another constable in that spot.
Right.
So you're just as important as that guy back there and his deputy.
Thank you for saying that.
And in my opinion, now, do I think you need to make what a JP does? No. In my opinion. My opinion, you need to be making $50,000 a year at least.
I'm under no delusion that y'all are gonna give us that thing. I thought long and hard about what number to put down, and when I came up with the figure that I wanted to present, I thought, well, God, I read the bylaws. Y'all are gonna suggest, and I figured I would just put what they got and I'm gonna let y'all make the determination of what y'all feel is a fair living wage for us to do the job that we're doing. That's all I'm asking.
You three men that are here, not the fourth, but you three men here should have at least put out what you think you should do.
I thought about it, but I did that when I turned my budget in.
I understand, but we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We don't hear, we haven't heard of it.
Well, you can ask Judge Sims that. He's got a copy of that budget, that proposal to that budget, what we felt like. You know, we all asked for the same thing back then. So we put down what we thought we should make then. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I'd have got it, I'd have said, man, well, I got what I asked for. Look at her.
To me, you're not, I think a JP does way more than what it costs.
I agree. I agree.
But that don't mean that you don't have an important job, not only from 8 to 5, but every day of the week, because if a deputy needs help, you can hear it, you're going to that call.
Exactly.
And if something happened to you or that deputy, you understand?
Mhm.
So I do think you need a raise. I don't know how much of that raise. That's just my opinion, what I give.
That's for y'all to decide now. So,
Here's, I'll give you what a deputy, makes. I think, guys, we have more experience than that. We start off at 51,084. It climbs about $1,500, year 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10, and it ends at year 10 at 57,495 at the top. As of this coming year's proposed budget. Now, I get a deal called Senate Bill 22 that the constables don't get, that I can add to some of those salaries to help, but it's brand new, and I just got that last year. So to put that in there would be unfair to the county, because the county doesn't pay it. But that's, just give you an overall, you 51, 57, and what my deputy. If you're right on that number.
I would say, especially to our public members, who aren't real familiar with the day in and day out of county government, I bet money, if you were asked to judge, you know, would he like to pay everybody in the county more? He certainly would. And this is not the, where we are now, is not the fault of this county judge and this commissioner's court. And I get, just a little bit of background. I'm not saying anybody's blaming them, I want you to understand kind of where we come from. When I first came over here as the elected DA, and the judge can tell you, my ADAs were woefully underpaid. And he and the commissioners, it was a process over time, over the past, this is my 7th budget now, I guess, have gotten those salaries up to where we are headed with the rest of Northeast Texas, but it's a process. And I believe, John, yes, y'all should make more, Jim, y'all should make more, there's no doubt. But I firmly believe, from knowing the judge and what I see in the budget, I think he recognizes it when everybody else got 3% and y'all got 6%. And I would just, I direct this more to our public members. Sometimes it is a process, and you know, maybe the 6% isn't quite enough. But I know the judge and our commissioners are always going to do what they can to get us up there. But we had county judges and commissioners who left us high and dry for a long time.
mhm.
And they are building it back up, but it's a process, John, Jim, and y'all know that.
Understand.
And I know the judge would like to do a lot more, but, you know, is the 46 or 47, is that quite enough? I don't know. But I know they recognize that something needs to be done. And with that being said, you know, maybe not as much as the JPs. There are some benefits that y'all get as far as the take-home vehicle and gas, and so that should be factored into it. And I hope that's a little bit helpful for our public members. And I really think at this point now, we are really talking about a number that we could get by with, that wouldn't woefully impact our county budget, and also take into account that maybe this is a process and there's a 6% or 7% this year, and then maybe next year we're looking at 4%, because it's a lot easier to get those salaries up when you implement it and build increments. And so that's my 2 cents. I recognize it, but I also know that they do what they can, and the fact that he did say 6%, I know the judge knows it needs to go up. So with that, I think we ought to really start talking about some numbers here.
And
if we go back and forth but we kinda need to search our hearts and think about it and a number that we could live with.
And I just want to say, I'm not blaming the judge or anything. He's doing the best job he can with what he has. I don't want you to take it that way. I appreciate everything you've done for us and the commissioners. I don't want y'all to feel that we're picking on y'all or anything like that. This is just our avenue. This is what the state gives us as an avenue to try and grievance and get what we want. We feel like we're doing. Yeah.
When you did the budget, you said you proposed your salary. Do you know exactly what that number was?
It was a base pay of 50.
A base pay of 50?
A base pay of 50.
Is there any longevity? Y'all get longevity in that?
We get a little longevity on top of that, and then our commission pay, certificate pay on top of that. So that's what we put in was 50.
I would imagine all the other master fees for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
3 to 5 years.
Did you always fit the pay, John?
sir,
You always fit the pay?
any, you want me to sit down now? Any questions?
One, precinct 2 does not get certificate pay.
But only people that file the grievance are actually eligible for what this committee. If this committee, correct me if I'm wrong, but if this committee recommends a unanimous decision on a salary, it only affects the ones that file the grievance, correct?
So you're exactly right, except that between now and whenever the court votes on the final budget, we can change any of those. If it's a 9-0 vote here for $50,000, y'all three are gonna get 50. That doesn't limit the commissioner's court from raising the fourth one to 50.
That's what I'm saying, but whatever decision this committee makes actually technically only affects the ones that file
That's right.
the grievance. If the court so desires, they have the opportunity to laterally move that or whatever. But their decision technically only affects the ones that file the grievance.
Yes, sir, you're right. Is that clear? Everybody understands that?
And I would like to say too, by statute, there's several of us who have to be on this committee. None of us like making a decision for anybody's salary at all. And I know that's a big decision for our commissioners and what they have to do and the county judge. And I understand that, but we have to, by statute, be on this committee to make a decision and help make this decision that we really don't want to make a decision on this item on someone else's salary. I really don't. But I understand where they're coming from too, because you can't give everybody a substantial raise every year, or we're gonna blow our budget completely. So
you know, I'm not mad at you guys, I won't be mad at y'all however you vote, and the commissioners, I don't believe they feel that way either, so
I'd like to iterate that.
Yes.
Whatever the committee comes up with, I'm gonna tell you, I've had this conversation with John and Darrell. We're still gonna be friends. I mean, we've been friends, we're gonna continue to be friends. We're not gonna hold y'all and not be ugly to y'all. I mean, I would feel the same way if I was on the committee.
It's a burden on.
Hey, be advised, it's a burden on me to follow this, but just through the years and some things that have gone on, it just came to a point where the gap continues to grow instead of becoming smaller. And so this was, trying to work, like I said, nothing against Justin. I'm not picking on anybody, but I took office in 17, like I said, and I have been working since 2017 trying to narrow this gap. And as you can see, instead of narrowing the gap, it's just getting larger and larger. So if we don't do something to start trying to narrow the gap, then the constables are never going to get, because I'm not going to be constable forever here in Harrison County. At some point in time, I'm going to retire. And in order to try to get a person to run for my office that's going to actually do the job, they're going to have a decent salary, or they're going to have to work 2 jobs. So that's what we're trying to narrow this gap, so that when I do retire, or John or Darrell, whoever retires, we can try to recruit somebody to run for this job that can actually make a decent living and not have to work 2 or 3 jobs, or only work 1 or 2 days a week.
When a 3% raise bumps you $6,000, and a 6% raise bumps you $3,000, if that doesn't put a spotlight on the inadequacies or the lack of, well, I can't think of a word now, disparity between those salaries, that's to me, what I'm concerned about is if you pay I think everybody ought to get 3% every single year. But here we're paying them 6%, and it doesn't come anywhere near what the other elected officials are getting. You know,
Judge, could I propose that maybe we, by written ballot, and I'm fine to put my name on it, get some numbers out there, and then have a discussion based on that, and see if we can meet somewhere in the middle?
I would like to.
Because we could have this discussion all day
yeah, this will
long.
go on.
Sure, be an open door here. So what I gave you is my deputy's base salary. Most of those deputies that I gave you there, it takes about 20 years to get a master police officer license. We all had that. We get a $2,000 certificate pay per year added to our salary for having that master police officer license. There's longevity pay for your year of service for Harrison County that goes in it. There's several things on top of the base salary
mean, their six versus our three, I mean, that, maybe they are legit, they have to do these, I don't know, did we feel like that was fair?
You have to remember too, every year,
And what
this
county-
court has been able to give us at least our, the cost of living, at least our across the board raises. And up until that point, they were scarce. And so, you know, really they were. Elected officials, last official publication to get a raise was in 2010. As far as a substantial raise. So, you know, they're trying to catch this gap up, but it's also hard to do it all at one time, I understand that. So I think we have to consider they are working diligently to try to make sure some of this is coming up. But I would think, to me, and I would think that if they are a certified peace officer, I'm fixing to throw a number out there for you. If they're a certified peace officer, they've kept up with their 20 hours a year, just like all the rest of us elected officials have to do according to statute, they're not the only ones. But according to that, I think if they were to start at what a salary of a deputy, a beginning deputy, that's 51,000, and then go from there. That's the number that.
Constable Royal has a comment.
Real quick.
After this, I think I need to end y'all's and you guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Judge. If this committee would feel better, myself and Tom, we don't mind stepping out. If they would feel better to have their discussion when we step, and ask us to step out, we have no problem with that.
That's your choice.
Well, I mean, if the committee would feel better, I'm not gonna be offended anyway, form or fashion, so.
51,084.24 is what first year deputy is, plus whatever, incentives they get, which would be roughly $25,000 to $3,000, that would put
Plus,
us
the
at
vehicle and gas.
54,000 plus the take home car and gas.
And right now, in your proposed budget with all of everything, longevity, uniform, cell phone, certification pay, there's proposed is 46,351, but with all of that added in, let's see, Constable Precinct 1 is 49,811. Constable Precinct 2, 48,771. He does not get the certification pay. Constable Precinct 3, 49,811. Constable Precinct 4, 49,811. So that's their total with everything added in.
Their base is 46, but all their
Yes.
incentive is 49.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, there's a little, and after whatever we decide, they still get it. And
You should have done the
very well should,
should.
if they're, we don't need to figure that in as our final, we need to figure out the numbers for the county, the incentives are theirs to go on top of whatever our numbers. Or whatever you want to use.
So we have a proposal by the clerk for $51,084, starting deputy pay. It is what says the rest of it,
I'm sorry, as the base,
as the base.
with all of that is, that takes them up to 54,000.
It's 3,239 is what it shows.
Okay.
So if you do 51,084, it would be plus 3,329.
That's a pretty good jump.
statute, it doesn't tell you to ask if we can get there. It says you,
Wasn't the bottom line that all 11 of us agree, as I understood the statute,
if nine of you agree on any number,
on any number, then it becomes,
we gotta do it.
you gotta do it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, if we all agree on that number, can you do it? Or does that put such a strain on our budget?
No, so we could do it.
So if they requested 50,000,
That's what
then let's go there.
I was
And then maybe in a couple of years, it'll graduate up a little bit more as we see the need now, you know? So maybe I'll back out and say 50,000.
I vote for 50,000.
I can do that. I can live with it.
So there's nine of you. The proposal is 50,000 that they requested in their budget this year. Any other comments before I ask you to vote on that? Hurry up. Really, I have a question. All in favor of increasing the constable 1, 3, and 4 to $50,000, raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is unanimous, $50,000 it is. I'm going to write up a little simple summary, studying what we've done, what you've agreed on. You guys will sign it, we'll do it. Fair enough?